If you had told me 1 year ago that I would be living in Mexico, I probably would have laughed at you. But here I am, 2 months in, and let me share with you what it's really been like. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between from my first few months living in Mexico. Everything from the language to the food. Truly has been a whirlwind of experiences, and today I'm going to break it all down for you. Whenever someone asks me what's the best part of living in Mexico, I always say the simplicity. I loved my life in Australia and I still appreciate just how easy it is to run down to the grocery store. But honestly, the more I get used to life here, the more I love the small businesses, the local fruit shops, and the markets. Living in Mexico honestly feels like stepping back in time, before everything was consumed by technology. And you can walk down any street and find a clothing store, a pharmacy, a fruit shop, and about 5 different taco stands. And while it took me a bit of time to adjust, I really am enjoying the markets and popping into the fruit shops for fresh produce. Now let's talk about the most important topic of all, probably the reason why you clicked on this video, the tacos. In all honesty, before coming to Mexico, I had never had an authentic taco, and you probably haven't either. And I'm not talking about the ones from Chipotle or GYG or Taco Bell. I always thought the tacos in Mexico were a little bit strange, even though this is where they originated from. And at times I do miss my tacos with mince, cheese, lettuce, and tomato. But now I can't get enough of the Mexican style tacos. They have completely won me over. And honestly, I want them all the time. And since we're talking about what's been amazing, I thought I would share with you the highlight of my time since being here. In February, I went to Acapulco and it was unforgettable. I honestly still think about it. We spent 2 nights there with my boyfriend's family, and from the moment that we arrived, I fell in love with the place. The beaches were absolutely stunning, the people were so welcoming, and the slower pace of life really made me stop and appreciate everything. It was one of those places that makes you think, I could totally live here. So let's talk about some of the challenges that I face. And I'm going to be completely vulnerable with you here for a second. The most obvious one is probably the language barrier.
Se fue desde hace rato, se levantó.
You might be wondering how to get past that, but honestly, other than Google Translate, I still don't have the perfect solution for you. It's definitely been tough for me, and it's left me with little confidence to order any food or go into any Oxos or pharmacies by myself. While I understand a little bit of Spanish now, I am still way too scared to talk to anyone in Spanish other than my boyfriend. My advice to you, take Spanish classes or at least get a basic understanding of the language before you move here. Unlike other non-English speaking countries, it is very rare to find someone who speaks English, at least where I live. Another challenge that I faced is the whole safety thing, which for me really ties into the language barrier. Honestly, I haven't left the house on my own yet, not because it's unsafe, but because I'm afraid of getting into a situation where not knowing the language can make it worse. That said, the more that I live here, the more that I realize that there really isn't anything to be afraid of. Just the other day, I took an Uber by myself, which I had been putting off for a while, and honestly, it was fine and nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. When I first came here last year for a short visit, I didn't even want to leave the house if I wasn't in a car. But now I feel confident enough to walk down the street, even if it is with somebody else. And I've also been going into Oxos and pharmacies all by myself, which is a huge step for me. Lastly, in terms of challenges, I want to touch on homesickness and loneliness. I'm planning on making a separate video just on this topic because I think it depends on what country you're in. Mexico and Australia are like comparing apples to oranges. They are so different in so many ways. I didn't expect to feel homesick, and it wasn't that I miss my family kind of homesick, but what really hit me hard was the culture shock. I just didn't expect it to be so overwhelming. For those of you that know me, I'm usually pretty independent and laid back. But I remember the first time I went to Walmart, I just started crying because they didn't have what I wanted, and my boyfriend just couldn't understand why. Everything just felt so different to me, and it just completely threw me off. And then there's also the loneliness aspect. It's not so much about missing people, but more about not being able to talk to anyone other than my boyfriend and his brother, who also speaks English. And it's also kind of tough not being able to connect and communicate with his family and friends. But they have been so patient, and they've really made an effort to speak English with me, which honestly means the world to me, considering I'm coming into their home and their country speaking another language. Okay, now we're going to talk about a couple things that I wasn't expecting at all. Although I had visited here before, this time around I can really see just how kind and respectful the people are. And can I just say this? And girls, this is for you. The boys and the men here are so respectful. Like walking on the outside of you when you're walking down the street, or holding your arm when you're crossing the road, or offering to carry your bags for you, all without asking. And honestly, you might be thinking, isn't this the bare minimum? But think about the last time that you remember these things happening to you back home. But other than that, the people here are genuinely so friendly, and they're always willing to do anything for you for nothing in return. Which, again, when was the last time that ever happened to you? I can only speak for where I'm living, but it is nothing like it is portrayed in the media. Another thing is, when I first moved here, I honestly didn't expect to love it as much as I do now. I thought maybe a year will be long enough, but the more that I live here, the more that I want to stay. Although, don't tell my boyfriend or my mom that. One of my favorite things about living here are the street performers, especially when you're in your car and they do a performance while you wait at a red light. I also love when people approach your car just to offer you food or drinks, or to wash your windscreen just for a few pesos. And I especially love when they bring around flowers to the car, especially when my boyfriend is there. And even at Walmart, they'll take your trolley back for you. It's just these little moments, these simple acts of kindness that really build a connection and make life here feel so special and so real. One thing that has really stood out to me since moving to Mexico is just how hardworking everyone is. The people here work long hours, well beyond the typical 9 to 5. It's not uncommon for people to work from sunrise to sunset, yet they'll always greet you with a smile and a positive attitude, which, again, when was the last time that happened to you? Their work ethic is truly inspiring. It makes you feel like you should not be complaining about your regular work again. So when I look back on my first few months here, it has definitely been a roller coaster of highs and lows. It has been an eye-opening experience. And even though that there are days that I feel homesick or overwhelmed, I know that I am growing and learning with every step. And please, if anyone has had a similar experience and has any advice, please leave it in the comments below. Anyway, that's all from me today. I've talked for way too long again. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.